Despite so much evidence to the contrary, I know a lot of people still don't want to believe that Trump is going to use ICE as his own personal secret police, Gestapo operating in the United States in order to enact his terrible authoritarian plans against not only immigrants, but also American citizens. We know that on day one, Trump tried to repeal birthright citizenship through an executive order. We know that courts have struck that down. Now, the Supreme Court did not rule on birthright citizenship. What they did say is that a lower court judge could not issue a nationwide injunction for the entire country, right? They said this has to be addressed through a class action. So the ACLU and CASA have both filed a class action suit around this issue. So birthright citizenship has not been litigated. That class action lawsuit is now back in. But the Trump regime would really, really like to repeal birthright citizenship, one of the foundations of this country. So not every nation has birthright citizenship. There are typically 4 different pathways for citizenship. One is by birth, one is by descent, one is by naturalization, and one is by marriage. Birthright citizenship fundamentally protects our rights as Americans. If Trump can just cancel your citizenship because he wants to, then what makes you an American? What gives you constitutional protections? And it's important to understand that there are folks for whom the fascist government of Donald Trump has not contested their citizenship at all, and they have still exiled them out of this country. They have still violated their constitutional rights and kicked them out of this country, and the courts have not stopped them. And all of those folks are little children. There has not been very much hubbub over this at all, but a number of children have been kicked out of this country. They were born in the United States. Their birthright citizenship has not been revoked. It has not even been questioned. But because their mothers were immigrants, ICE has scurried them out of this country. They have exiled them. There's no such thing as deportation of American citizens. They have exiled these children and violated their basic constitutional rights. But in the United States, we don't really care that much about what happens to kids. We don't really care about violating the rights of children, especially not brown children, even if they're U.S. citizens. So it really hasn't garnered that much attention or that much fear, that much compassion, that much action. But there is a story that you may have missed from just a couple of days ago that maybe it will, because the United States just deported an adult man born in 1986. And I want to tell you the details of what happened because it should be very, very concerning to you. This story is particularly concerning to me, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So this piece is by Josh Dubose in The Hill from June 27th. It did not get as much attention as it should have, and especially now when we are looking at ICE getting more than 10 times the funding that they had. They're going to be getting $150 billion of our taxpayer money, so that Trump basically has his own private paramilitary that he can use to terrorize Americans, and which is going to operate entirely outside and above the law. This article, United States soldier's son born on an army base in Germany is deported to Jamaica. Now, we know we are seeing the wives of our service members being abducted and stuffed into ICE detention facilities. I talked the other day about a woman named Paula, whose husband is a Marine Corps veteran, who was ripped away from her 9-week-old breastfed child and stuffed into a detention facility. Even though our armed services, they advertise in their recruiting that, hey, if you join the military, if you give your life and your mental health and your skills and your years to the military, and if your loved one is undocumented, we will help them get legal status here. We'll overlook things, and we will work extra hard to help them get legal status and even citizenship. That's been a policy and a practice and an active recruiting measure of our military for years. And Trump has decided that they're not going to honor any of that because he does not give a shit about our military. He does not care about veterans at all. We're seeing the non-citizen wives of our United States military who are actively trying to get citizenship. Paula was snatched from outside a citizenship hearing. In immigration court, she was snatched away. We're seeing that happen. It's happened multiple times, but this is in some ways worse. A man born to an active duty member of the United States military at an army base in Germany in 1986, before coming to the States as a child, was deported last week to Jamaica, a country he's never even been to, according to a report from the Austin Chronicle. So Jermaine Thomas's dad was born in Jamaica, became a U.S. naturalized citizen, had an 18-year military career. So he was born on an army base in Germany to a father who was active duty and stationed on that base. And you would think, obviously, that makes you an American citizen. Jermaine's family was moved several places in the military. You know, I'm an Air Force brat, and we lived a lot of places when I was a kid, including Germany. You get moved around a lot. So Jermaine and his family were stationed at multiple locations. Eventually, his parents divorced. He lived with his mother for a while, who was married to another military service member. And then eventually, he moved to be with his father in Florida. His dad had retired there and was having kidney trouble. And so Jermaine moved to be there and apparently take care of him. His dad died shortly thereafter. And Jermaine, according to the Chronicle, this is why this article was originally published in a Texas newspaper, Jermaine spent much of his time after that in Texas. Apparently, Jermaine struggled with homelessness and addiction, and it's not really clear at what time the Department of Homeland Security attempted to remove him from the United States of America. But we do know there was a Supreme Court case, 2015-2016. Loretta Lynch, that is the Attorney General under Barack Obama, who succeeded Eric Holder. Her Department of Justice argued that Thomas's petition to stay in the United States should not be upheld and that he should in fact be deported. The DOJ at the time said that Jermaine's father did not meet the physical presence requirement of the statute in force at the time of Thomas's birth. So basically, his dad was deployed, but he wasn't present on the base when Jermaine was born, and his mother was a citizen of Kenya. He spent his entire life on U.S. military bases or in the United States of America. He was born to an active duty service member, and Barack Obama's Department of Justice argued that he should be kicked out of the United States. He ultimately wasn't, because y'all, he's stateless. He has no citizenship now. The United States government made this man stateless. He doesn't have German citizenship. He doesn't have Jamaican citizenship. His father is an American citizen, was an American citizen before he was born. His mother is a Kenyan citizen, but he doesn't have citizenship any of those places. So basically, they let him stay in America because like nobody else would take him. They made this man stateless because he was homeless, struggled with addiction, had criminal convictions. Donald Trump's ICE has snatched up Jermaine and has deported him to Jamaica, a country where he does not have citizenship, where he has never been before. Jermaine told the Chronicle he's now living in Kingston, Jamaica. He is staying in a hotel. He's not sure who's paying for it, the Jamaican government, maybe. He doesn't know how long he'll be able to stay there. He doesn't know how to get a job, if he's legally allowed to get a job, because he's not a citizen there. He doesn't have a work visa there. He doesn't even know if it's legal for him to be in the country. America just kicked him out and said, bye, you can't stay here. We're sending you to Jamaica. In a phone call with a reporter, Jermaine said, if you're in the U.S. Army and the Army deploys you somewhere and you've got to go have your child over there and your child makes a mistake after you pass away, meaning he was convicted of multiple crimes, and you put your life on the line for this country, are you going to be okay with them just kicking your child out of the country? So for me, this is what is so concerning. The justification for saying that he doesn't have citizenship and he can't stay in this country is because he's a convicted criminal. They have basically said, you're stateless, you have no citizenship anywhere. And honestly, the way that Barack Obama's Department of Justice justified that is the same way that Trump is justifying that, saying that because he's been convicted of crimes, because he's struggled with homelessness and addiction, they said crimes of moral turpitude, that they are going to declare him not a citizen. We moved to Germany when I was 3 months old. If we'd been stationed there 3 months earlier and I'd been born at Rhine-Main, could Trump's Department of Justice try to do this to me? Could they try and do it to any of you who are the children of service members who were born overseas? Like, where's the line, y'all? What are they going to use to justify saying you don't have citizenship here? We can kick it. We can send you somewhere you've never been in your life and where you don't have a legal right to be. You can't get a job, can't take care of yourself. You just can't stay here. How do y'all feel about that? How do you feel about that?